help in dire situations without benefit to themselves, even those heroes of the unsung variety. Curtis Stone fits this bill. Last summer he was coming back from a baseball game, said Barbara Kittel, a longtime friend who nominated Stone. He helped save that man's life, then he just drove away. On June 18th, Curtis was driving home to New Braunfels from San Antonio and ran into congestion on Interstate 35. A man in a cowboy hat was directing traffic away from a crash in the far left lane of the highway. I remember that scene because I drove through it on my way to work that Saturday. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I guess I was maybe about 10 minutes after it happened. And I remember watching a lot of people helping this man out. Curtis is a former Navy seaman, firefighter, and EMS paramedic, and he wondered what the trouble was. He inched closer, got out of the car to see if he could help. As I approached the man in the black cowboy hat, I noticed a man lying on the ground on his left side outside the passenger door, missing his right leg. He was squirting arterial blood. I did not second guess about going over there. He had about a 1-foot stub left of what was his right leg. His instinct kicked in and Curtis got to work. He yelled for someone to call 911, got a woman to throw gauze from her window, took another woman's belt to fashion a tourniquet, and stopped the man's bleeding. Curtis said he directed a woman to use a blanket also tossed from a passing vehicle to wrap the severed leg and stow it under a vehicle out of the sun. He did everything necessary to stabilize the victim until New Braunfels EMS paramedics arrived. One of those paramedics, Justin Dogie, said Curtis might well have prevented the victim's death. When I saw him, he wasn't doing very well, Dogie said. I can't imagine how much worse off he'd have been had they not intervened. I imagine he would have lost more blood, and I can't imagine doctors would have been able to keep him alive. Dogie and his crew loaded the man up, later identified as Francisco Garcia of Monterrey, Mexico, into an ambulance and rushed him to a landing zone. From there, a helicopter took Garcia to a university hospital, and Garcia survived the crash, thanks in part to Curtis Stone. That's the kind of guy Curtis is, the Cattell said. And they said his good Samaritanism doesn't stop with that incident. Curtis performs other selfless acts in his neighborhood, throughout the community, and even cross-country. A 91-year-old widower and former Navy captain called Curtis one day from Florida and said he wanted to return home to Texas. And being a hero, what do you think Curtis did? Curtis said, "Yes, sir, I'll be there." He drove to Florida and drove the man back with all his belongings. It was Pensacola, Florida. Wow. Just like that. He's a sweetheart. We tried to contact Mr. Garcia, but he's a Mexican national, and we were unable to reach him. That would have been really nice. But nonetheless, we know Curtis Stone is truly an unsung hero. Ladies and gentlemen, Curtis Stone.